Today I'm reacting to your Monday Night Raw Hot Takes. Hot Takes is a weekly video series where I give you all a platform to be able to voice your thoughts, whether they're good or bad, about your current thoughts on the state of professional wrestling. So if you want to be featured in next week's Hot Takes video, make sure that you're following me on X. I ask for your hot take on there after every single episode of Raw, SmackDown, and every WWE Premium Live event. So yes, I will be asking for your hot takes after Bash in Berlin. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, ring that bell for notifications if you're a wrestling fan. I know you're gonna fall in love with his YouTube channel because we always upload daily wrestling content. And I don't typically shout these out, but if you want more wrestling content outside of YouTube, I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Twitch. Go check all of those out. I'll put them in the description of this video. To be fair, they've always been in the description of the video, but yeah, I'm just reminding you that they're there today. All right, let's read your stupid shit. Hot take, you're a bitch. Donovan, Dijak, double D squared, whatever the hell you're going by these days. I thought this beef online was over. I thought you and I, that we were good, that we'd mended fences, shook hands, and gone our separate ways. But it seems like you still have some issue with me, and you think that I'm just gonna sit back like a punk and take it. Dijak, if you want to take this feud beyond Twitter into the real world, say the day and say the time. I'll be there. WWE officials pissed me off during these Bronson Reed segments. Like, just move R-Truth out of the way. I get it. They want to do this to give Bronson more heel heat, but I think he's had enough heat since he did the 90s tsunamis to Seth. Doing these spots every single week will make it repetitive and boring. Me personally, I've been really enjoying these spots, and I think that they've done wonders in terms of elevating Bronson Reed from this kind of forgettable mid-carder that was just there to put on great meaty matches to a guy that could be vying for championships or maybe even world championships. It's very reminiscent actually as to how they flipped the switch with Mark Henry in 2011 and made him Hall of Pain Mark Henry, where he was destroying everybody, getting himself in trouble with authority figures and winning world championships. They kind of did this with Nakamura, where at the snap of a finger, funnily enough, at this exact same time last year, all of a sudden he had great story, great motivation, and an intensity that we hadn't seen in a really long time. He once again, just like that Mark Henry and just like this Bronson Reed, went from forgettable mid-card guy that was just sort of floundering to a guy that was vying for world championships. Nakamura didn't win any, but it was a great 4-month stretch for his career, in my opinion. And I think that's what we're seeing here with Bronson Reed. Now, really, it's up to Reed to win the fans over, to make sure that this isn't just a flash in the pan moment, that this really is something that's got legs for him to be a mainstay of the main event. Now, I like what you point out, WWE officials being completely brain dead and stupid and not moving R-Truth out of the way, but that's what happens when you try to insert logic into the ridiculous, sometimes illogical world of professional wrestling. That's when we start to find these silly little logical flaws, and it starts to kind of ruin the show. So for your sake, I would say just pretend that, you know, they are incapable of stopping him, or moving R-Truth might shake his neck and break it or something. I just wouldn't try to get logical with this, because otherwise you're just not going to enjoy the show as much. WWE should trade Randy Orton to Raw and Jey and Sami to SmackDown. Look, I think that Randy Orton still has a lot to do over on Friday Night SmackDown, predominantly that feud that we all want with Cody Rhodes, but somehow it just feels like a breath of fresh air to have Randy Orton on Monday Night Raw. I don't know if maybe it's just because now he's involved in something that isn't bloodline related, but I'm here for Randy to be on Monday Night Raw. Meanwhile, Jey Uso and Sami Zayn seem to have kind of run out of things to do on Monday Night Raw, so I'm kind of okay with them going to SmackDown as well and helping fortify that tag team division, and of course adding to the inevitable bloodline reunion to take on Solo Sikoa's bloodline on the final boss, whatever it might be. I'm okay with this trade. I think it's fair. The new Judgment Day didn't look very strong this episode, which is a real problem. There's 5 of them and they can't take down 2 people? Doesn't make any sense. Again, I refer to my earlier answer. When you try to make sense of the crazy, sometimes illogical world of professional wrestling, you start to find these plot holes that don't make any sense, and I think that this is one of them. But you're gonna have to get used to it, dude, because Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest are arguably 2 of the top 5 babyfaces in the entire company right now, and when top babyfaces tend to team up, ask Randy Orton and John Cena, they're capable of taking out the entire roster if they they wanted to, according to WWE canon. So this is going to happen a lot more often. It just sucks that it's happening to a brand new faction that's trying to find its footing and become a legitimate threat to the world of professional wrestling and a legitimate threat to top baby faces. Because you're right, they're just sort of getting clowned, and I'm hoping that maybe it's leading to them winning a Bash in Berlin and actually winning matches, because as it stands right now, Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest are literally just making them into little punks right now. Sammy versus Braun should have had that match on SummerSlam. It would have been an instant classic on a grand show. Now it's going to be a forgotten in the quote good 2024 Raw matches. I'm kind of conflicted by this thought because I did personally believe that Braun Breaker needed to win in a definitive way to really cement him as this badass that they were portraying on episodes of Monday Night Raw that didn't translate at Money in the Bank when he had a longer match, a more competitive match. I really felt like they needed to take this unstoppable feeling that they were making Braun Breaker have on Monday Night Raw and translate that to SummerSlam. They did it with the short match, but they didn't do it with the brutality that people wanted. People wanted him to put Sammy through tables. People wanted him to spear him through a barricade, but it was just a quick, short 5-minute match. Now, if my choice is that 5-minute match versus this great best 2 out of 3 falls match, yeah, I'd say make the switch. This should have been on SummerSlam if we weren't going to get the car wreck 5-minute squash that would have further better legitimized Braun Breaker, in my opinion. Where in the ever-living hell did the name Pure Fusion Collective come from? It is an objectively terrible name. It sounds like the name of a terrible small gym chain, or it just sounds like one of those like red-pilled groups trying to teach you how to become a self-made millionaire by joining their Discord or something like that. Do you want a Bugatti? Do you want to escape from the Matrix? Join the Discord and become a part of the Pure Fusion Collective. Just $6 a month to join the Discord to become your own self-boss. Yeah, it's a terrible name. It's a stupid name. I don't like it. Whatever. Let's move on. No other superstar in WWE would survive the regression that Dominic Mysterio faced his character tonight. This fallout with Rhea had a chance to explore a nuance to this character that we hadn't seen. They went with he wanted more attendees. I actually disagree with you here, and I'll just hear me out, because I don't think that everything needs to have this elaborate plot. I feel like if you want the elaborate narrative and the major, deep motivations, look at Finn Balor, the guy that went through the 7 years of agony and then he got screwed over at SummerSlam the year before and has been waiting a whole year to backstab Damian Priest, backstabbing Balor. I don't think that this works for Dominic Mysterio. I think that Dominic Mysterio's character through and through is he's an immature idiot. And the fact that he was willing to give up a stable relationship with his friends and family now in the Judgment Day for Chicky Tendy's PS5s and being called daddy is actually so perfectly on character and such a great move, in my opinion. If all of a sudden Dominic Mysterio is this like puppet master, with these deep cutting motivations, it doesn't work for him. I personally enjoy the fact that they decided to steer into the ridiculousness of Dominic Mysterio and making him into this spoiled brat, which is the impetus of the storyline between him and Rey Mysterio to begin with. I like that they doubled down. I understand where you're coming from, but I personally think that this works specifically for Dominic Mysterio. These stupid, dumb motivations are perfect for him. The lack of Jey Uso recently has been startling. Relegating him back to the tag division is such a mistake. He's so hot and over to an extent that so few individuals have ever achieved, and they're throwing him right back into tag teaming. It's baffling. That's why I think that maybe a move to Friday Night SmackDown is the play, but I don't know that that removes him from the tag team division. If anything, it might put him into the tag team division even faster, but it just sort of feels like the Jey Uso train in terms of being a world championship caliber dude has arrived and left without Jey Uso on it. It is, I agree with you, baffling. I've never seen a guy this over in such a long time and quite literally achieve zero singles glory. I guess you could say the same thing about LA Knight in the entirety of the last 12 months prior to SummerSlam 2024, where he finally won something. Maybe that's the path that we're going with Jey Uso, but Jey Uso's already been like the most over act on Monday Night Raw since like October of last year. So it's baffling. I'm with you. I don't know that they have any clear direction or plans for him. At the very least, as a fan, it's tough to try and predict where they're going with him because it seems on paper like there's nothing for Jey Uso right now, and that is actually crazy.
Batista powerbombs him here, right? Yep, he breaks his neck.
Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. That was right under the chin.
Yeah. Triple H did it. Oh.
That was a sneak preview of this week's Wrestling is Cool Match Club, which is available exclusively over on patreon.com/SantiZap. This week with the Match Club, you're going to be getting a blow-up doll versus Kota Ibushi. You're going to get the mega match of John Cena versus Batista at SummerSlam 08. We're looking at the incredibly dangerous Ultimate X match from 2009 TNA, alongside a hidden Ring of Honor gem between Shinsuke Nakamura and Kevin Steen, and a 3-on-1 handicap between all three members of The Shield versus CM Punk. This week, you're going to be getting all 5 of those watch-alongs alongside the podcast 3 days early, the Raw reviews, and the SmackDown review, and more. And you can get all of this content over on the Patreon, patreon.com/SantiZap. This is all extra content that never appears on the YouTube channel because, frankly, it can't ever appear on the YouTube channel. So again, go check it out. It'll be the top link in the description or the link in the pinned comment. I think that if you even just give the Patreon 1 month, that you're gonna fall in love with. I actually upload more on the Patreon than I do on the YouTube, which is kind of crazy to think about considering I upload daily here. All right, that's it for the sellout. Go check it out. Back to the video. Bronson Reed is a star now. They chanted one more time. They wanted him to kill a national treasure, R-Truth. That's what we're saying, right? Like with the snap of a finger, they can make the creative decision to all of a sudden make you awesome and make you undeniable. But again, it's up to the star and the talent that is Bronson Reed to make sure that this is a long-term thing. And somebody mentioned it earlier, you know, that the same thing could become repetitive, and to a degree, I agree, but I don't think that he's going to be doing this every single week. But it certainly helped him finally like arrive at the moment of us questioning the possibility of Bronson Reed being a star. And that, to me, is mission accomplished by WWE Creative. Now it's up to Bronson Reed. Super Cena should resurrect to take down Gunther at WrestleMania 17. Gunther can win it back the next night. None of these half measures of Cena losing it the very next night. Cena will win against Gunther WrestleMania 41, and he will hold this thing right until he retires. That's what needs to happen, bro. The Xavier Woods leaving New Day story could have been one of the best storylines on Raw if WWE went full force with it. So in this world of like really long-term booking and long-term storytelling, it's tough to say whether or not they're going full force with it or not, because we've seen the WWE go from 0 to 100 in one night. Look at Finn Balor, a guy that just sort of felt like he was in limbo doing nothing, and then in one night, boom, one of the top heels in the entire company with one of the best storylines and motivations going around. So the WWE is very capable of ramping this and going, as you're saying, full force in any single second that they want to. So we'll see. I don't know that they've tried full force with it yet. If they have already tried, then I feel like that's indicative that this storyline isn't particularly landing with people. But maybe on some random episode of Monday Night Raw, this heel turn or maybe, I don't know, backstabbing betrayal of Xavier Woods or of Kofi Kingston would just hit monumentally with fans and generate such an insane pop, and maybe it becomes the best story of the year. Who knows? But right now, it's just not the case. The Miz should have turned heel tonight. I thought that that's where they were going to go, but now I disagree. I don't think that he should have turned heel, because now he's going to be the sympathetic guy that's going to avenge R-Truth, and he's going to jump into this feud with Bronson Reed. Is this a feud that he's going to lose? Almost certainly, but at the very least, it's a credible feud for Bronson Reed, because he is, and when I say he, I mean the Miz, is a former world champion, WrestleMania main eventer, Money in the Bank winner. This is a good stepping stone for a Bronson Reed, and that's kind of like the job of the Miz over the last 5 years, the stepping stone for other players. Drew McIntyre should be in the title picture, and they should make it a triple threat. Nah, not yet. I love this constant like yanking of the fish bait. Not yet, Drew, not yet, as he continues to try and reinsert himself into the world championship picture, only for CM Punk to step in and prevent that. Clearly, that's the end game. Drew McIntyre actually winning world gold and then bringing in CM Punk into the fold, maybe Gunther, and of course Seth Rollins into it. It's going to happen, but I like that they keep delaying it with this stuff going on with CM Punk. I don't want this to be a triple threat. I'm sure at some point down the line, we're going to get a multi-person match for the World Heavyweight Championship, but it's not the right time. This stuff going on with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre is just too hot to put off a pause to. Even though Pure Fusion Collective is the dumbest name ever, they need to win the women's tag titles to gain credibility, or no one will take them seriously. I guess I kind of get your point, considering that's been their entire motivation of dominating the women's tag team division, of winning tag team gold. It just sort of sucks that in this division, the only way that you can gain credibility, it seems, is by winning the tag titles. That's actually kind of insane to say out loud. I feel that they should find a way to become credible outside of that, and because of being credible, then they win the World Tag Team titles. But we are in a weird situation with the women's tag team division where the best way to gain credibility is to win the actual titles themselves and then hope to become this mainstay as you hold the titles. And I don't think that that's very indicative of a healthy division in the long term. The Wyatt 6 tapes are absolutely cinema, but I think a long-term feud would be good to get them set up soon. Otherwise, I could start to lose interest. Hey, Jeremy, what do you think that they've been involved in for the past 2 months since Clash at the Castle? A long-term feud with Chad Gable and the members of American Made, or whatever the hell that group is called. They're already in a long-term feud. I don't understand what you're asking for. Otis and Tozawa really opened my eyes today. That was the best tag team match on cable this year. It was a really, really good match. I don't know if it's the best one. I have to see what other ones are out there, but it was one of the best matches of this entire show. Otis, I wasn't surprised by. Like, Otis has been cooking for a very long time now, and we know what he can deliver. But I think people forgot how good Tozawa is. Like, don't forget, this man was fantastic in the Cruiserweight Classic. He was fantastic in 205 Live. He is a great worker that has just been given the dancing comedy skit for the last year and a half, but he is phenomenal in the ring, and he was just so good in terms of chemistry, not just alongside his partner Otis, but alongside the Creeds. Like, to me, like, this was such a good match. The mixed tag match is going to be an absolute banger and could possibly be one of the best mixed tag matches ever. I think it's got the star power to be one of, if not the best mixed tag match ever. We'll see. We'll maybe come back to this question after Bash in Berlin. But yeah, man, I'm excited for this match. It's funny that the last like really major mixed tag match was also involving the Judgment Day. If I'm remembering correctly, it was Finn and Rhea versus Edge and Beth Phoenix, if I'm remembering correctly. So it seems like this is a good formula for the Judgment Day just in general. Terror Twins is looking very untouchable, and that is severely hurting the new Judgment Day. Having Liv and Dom constantly run away is bullshit. Liv has never been scared of Rhea. Finn Balor looking soft is bullshit. Things gotta change going into Berlin. I disagree about Liv never being scared of Rhea. Like, leading into SummerSlam, she kept running away from Rhea. So, like, that is at the very least a continuation of what's been going on within their feud, with Liv Morgan not wanting any of that Rhea Ripley smoke. Even the actual match, if you remember, the first like 5 minutes was Liv Morgan running away and avoiding contact with Rhea Ripley. So I disagree with that point. I agree with the Finn Balor point. I feel like Finn Balor should look far more evil, far more menacing, and far more believable. And at this point, he just isn't. He is, at the moment, the little bro of the Terror Twins. He is not looking like a guy that could be a legitimate threat to them. It's kind of getting too repetitive, so I just catch the clips on Twitter. I've been enjoying Raw, so I don't agree with the sentiment that it's not good to the point where I shouldn't be watching it, but I mostly pointed this out because I do think that this is a legitimate way to consume wrestling. For like 8 years, in the 2010s, when Raw was not very good, I pretty much exclusively watched Raw through the YouTube uploads because I couldn't sit through 3 hours of crap. So if you don't like the show, there's other alternative, faster ways to stay in the loop of wrestling and still consume the entire show without sitting for 3 hours. People have to stop sleeping on Gunther's promos. He has a very unique style of promo that makes him one of the best mic workers right now. Randy, you are one of the best in the planet. You are so gifted. You're one of the best that I've ever seen. That Gunther style of promo. I like the cadence. I think it works. But your dad, he was useless. Your grandfather, he was also useless. It just works. I don't understand why it is that the like kind of like robotic sounding promo style just works so well for Gunther. This is something I've been saying for a while. Gunther's promos are unique and different sounding and feeling. And that to me, I don't know if it's necessarily that he's good at promos, but he stands out with his style of promos, in my opinion. I've been digging them. Breakker versus Zayn was the perfect apology by WWE for their SummerSlam 5-minute match. The match itself was amazing. They choreographed the falls really well. The finish was awesome, and all in all, it was an incredible match. Only issue with it was the ad break slowing it down, kinda. It's the ad breaks that you mentioned here that I think is the best argument for this really good match to have been on SummerSlam, because it wouldn't have been interrupted by those ads. But man, I love what you said here about the choreographing of the falls. I will tell you right now, I was 1000% certain, ready to mortgage my house, that Braun Breaker was obviously winning this. But when Sammy hit that haluva kick out of nowhere to try and pick up the second fall when Breaker was going for the spear to finish off Sami Zayn, they sold me. I legitimately for a moment thought, damn, Sami Zayn is actually winning this. I thought that the match was choreographed so perfectly. It was so entertaining. Yeah, ads kind of slowed it down, but I don't think it really takes away from the match as a whole. CM Punk versus McIntyre strap match at Bash in Berlin. So actually, I think this begs the question, is this going to be a Bash in Berlin? Because this type of stipulation is perfect for something like Bad Blood. In terms of the name of the PLE, it's just perfect. But are they going to really hold out all the way to early October to do this feud or to have this match, which I think you're right. I think it is going to be a strap match. I think it'd be nice if it was at the Berlin show, but it's already starting to get full. There's already 3 announced matches. And yeah, of course, this match would absolutely be one of those marquee matches on this show, but I'm not convinced that this is going to Bash in Berlin. I really think that this might be a Bad Blood match. We'll see. All right, folks, thanks so much for submitting your Monday Night Raw hot takes. That's it. I'm done. Get out of here.